Update, brought to you by Simcox Advocates, advising businesses and families since 1949. Visit simcox.com or call 690 300. Manx Radio's Update with Andy Wint.
Fast away. Good evening. It's 5:30. This is Update for Friday, 17th of November 2023 from Manx Radio. 30 minutes to take a look at the latest news on the Isle of Man, plus background to that news and sport and business and sea watch and travel updates. The newsmakers in person this evening. The steam packet could be hit by strikes. Household income may affect public housing suitability. Delay to the Peel sewage works. Why would you ask for Angela? And the Ravens match tomorrow is called off.
Man Benham for all your business and legal needs.
First of all, at 29 minutes ahead of 6 o'clock, the Update News headlines. Faster my Siobhan Fletcher.
Faster my. Emergency services are on the scene and dealing with an RTC at Quarterbridge coming from the direction of Bray Hill in Douglas. Avoid the area if you can. We're hearing reports traffic is at a standstill there. Possible strike action is on the cards as the union representing the steam packet workers has announced its intention to ballot members. Nautilus has served the company with a notice which now begins the start of a process which will see members asked if they want to take industrial action and to what extent. The steam packet company says it's disappointed by that decision. FC Isle of Man's away fixture tomorrow against Colne has been postponed due to a waterlogged pitch. A new date will be confirmed in due course. Further afield, the partner of murdered Irish teacher Aisling Murphy has described their relationship as heaven on earth, as her killer was jailed for life today. Joseph Pushka murdered the 23-year-old on a canal towpath last January. A senior advisor to the Israeli Prime Minister is urging civilians in parts of southern Gaza to follow their calls to evacuate. Leaflets have been dropped in the area of Khan Yunis telling people to leave. And rescue operations are continuing in northern India for 40 construction workers trapped underground after a road tunnel collapsed on them. The men have been stuck since a landslide occurred on Sunday. They're your headlines. News at 6.
Man Benham. Contact us by phone, video call, email or face-to-face. We're happy to connect with you. Manx Radio Weather with Manx Glass and Glazing.
Goromaya, thank you, Siobhan, from the Ronaldsway Met Office. There's a strong wind warning in operation. State of sea slight or moderate, perhaps rough overnight. And the weather this evening, a strengthening southerly, then southeasterly will bring rain after dark. The overnight minimum 6 degrees. And for Sound, rain first thing Saturday, then dry with sunny intervals, occasional showers on a fresh to strong southwest wind. Daylight maximum 14 degrees, down to 10 through the night. And for Jadooni, sunny intervals, scattered showers, a moderate to fresh westerly, top temperature 12. Tides on the way out. Low water a minute to 8, high tide 8 minutes after 2 a.m. Sunrise at 9 minutes before 8. And the morning low tide 24 minutes past 8, here at the home of the halfway horse tram.
Manx Glass and Glazing are proud to be an approved contractor with Construction Isle of Man. Call the team on 674 573 or visit the showroom on the Snugborough Trading Estate.
Possible strike actions on the cards as unions representing steam packet workers serve the company notice of its intention to ballot members for industrial action. It comes after a lengthy battle between the two, which the senior national organiser of the Nautilus Union, Gary Elliott, agrees has become messy.
Very unfortunate because no one wants to be in a position of serving notice for industrial action because it means that elements of consultation and negotiation have come to a conclusion. No one can say that the union haven't made every attempt. We've been in discussions now for nearly 2.5 years to try and resolve this issue. So it isn't something that happened a week or two ago and we've run straight to an industrial action ballot. This has been 2.5 years in the making, and to be fair to the employees of the Isle of Man Steam Packet and Manx Transport is that they've been very patient. They've been very supportive of the situation to wait for 2 years. At the start of, we're told that it was non-negotiable. They were just going to implement these changes at some stage. We know when that is now. It's the 1st of January 2024. So yes, very, very messy. Didn't need to get here, but we're still having problems trying to convey to the employer to get to a satisfactory conclusion.
And we don't know the exact type of industrial action that could be taken, but you've been to the island recently to speak with members. What is the likely outcome there?
Obviously, the first option is to go for strike action, because everyone, their entitlement is to withdraw their labour, and sometimes that's the only rights that individual employees have to bring things to a satisfactory conclusion. But again, on other occasions, we'll offer an alternative, which is to take industrial action short of strike, which allows people to work to the elements of their contracts of employment, but not to do any additional tasks. That will be determined by the members, because the questions will be asked on the ballot paper. I mean, from our position, we would hope that they would vote for both, because it gives us a mandate to do either.
An applicant's age as well as their income should be taken into account when assessing their suitability for public housing. Chair of the Housing and Communities Board, David Ashford MHK, was questioned on the criteria by a caller to Man in Line today.
So what there's a 5-year tenancy. So that was brought in, I think, in 2017, the first batch of 5-year tenancies. So they're just coming up for renewal now. So at the end of those 5-year tenancies, everyone's income is assessed against a threshold, the tenant's income. And if they fail that threshold, there's various different steps where their rent will move up towards market value. And then ultimately, if they're over the top threshold, they have to vacate the property. Top threshold, I think, is around about 60,000. But after that, they have to actually vacate. It has affected a lot of people. There is some concerns that I have around the criteria, which I've expressed in Timble before, because it doesn't take account of age. So you might have people who've been in low-paid jobs for part of their life that come into a high-paid job in their 50s, but they're being told they're now over the threshold, but they're due for retirement soon. Or people who haven't got, who've got pension lump sums, which is pushing them over the savings threshold, but the pension lump sum is meant to be to actually pay for their retirement with a reduced pension. So there is anomalies in the system that need sorting out, but there is now a proper means tested situation in place, because previously you were only means tested going into social housing. There was no means testing after that.
Update brought to you by Simcox Advocates, advising businesses and families since 1949. Visit simcox.com or call 690 300.
After a challenging 2023, Manx TT rider Nathan Harrison says he's delighted to be remaining with the Honda Racing UK team going to next year. Speaking to Manx Radio, the Oncombe man's outlined his ambitions for next year and what it's like to be with his teammates again, with TT legend John McGuinness as well as Honda's new signing, Dean Harrison.
I can't thank them enough for giving me a second chance. Obviously, things in 2023 were going really well. I had a cracking start to the Northwest 200, and then things took a turn for the worse, and obviously missed the TT, which is my be-all and end-all really in motorcycle racing, and then also lost my mum, all within a week of each other really. So, but no, we picked ourselves back up again, and I'm really looking forward to getting going again in 2024 and rejoining the Honda Racing team. I know that I'll definitely be on that start line at the TT in 2024. I do not want to miss another TT and sit at the sidelines, but it actually helped me in a lot of other ways. Obviously, I've been able to see how the team works. I've been able to see how I can interpret my data to the guys, and seeing how John worked at the TT. So there's always a positive and a negative, and every time I've been knocked down in the past, I've come back stronger, and that's exactly what I'm going to do in 2024. Obviously, John is a 23-time TT winner. He's an incredible person, and like you say, he is Mr. TT. Dean joined into the team for 2024. He's a proven race winner, and it's also good for me, myself. I'm going to be having the experience of John and also the data of Dean, who's going to be pushing for podiums and wins. So I had to have all of that in my second TT to be able to look into, to obviously help me improve, is a fantastic position for me to be in. So my TT 2024 is basically going to be TT 2023. They're basically treating this as my first year with Honda after everything that went on and happened. So my aim is just to carry on going out and progressing as a rider. I did that after even crashing at the Northwest 200, and coming back, I've progressed massively, and that's with their help. And the plan is for 2024 is just to build on what I started in 2022 senior TT, where I finished 10th in my own privateer team. So the plan is, again, just carry on doing step by step, no massive rush, and see where we can end up.
Manx Utilities has announced a delay to the planning submission for its Peel sewage treatment works. Chair of Peel Commissioners Hazel Hannon says the board's been let down with a lack of communication about this setback.
We're so disappointed. We expected, after the consultation that they had, which was very positive in support of the application and in support of the area, we expected that to be very shortly to go to planning. And so we are disappointed it's not happening. We were going to propose at this meeting tonight that we have an urgent meeting with them, but obviously the clerk has had confirmation that it is going ahead later this year, probably December. But we are disappointed because we had high hopes once they came to explain the situation, where they were having it, all that they've been through to get to this particular site. We felt very positive about it, and we were looking forward to the application. Individually, I think almost all of us support. As a commission, we have not actually said formally because we need to see the planning application. But individually, I think we're all wanting it done, and that was the result of this consultation. People that were there, they were so delighted that this was going to go ahead. It's going to put back the finishing time when it's actually switched on. We've not been communicated with as a commission. It's just been on their website, which is also a disappointment to us as being a body that's really interested. They've let us down, and maybe come to us and explain the situation.
Sea Watch with the Isle of Man Steam Packet Company.
Manxman's late tonight due to tidal restrictions in Douglas Harbour. The Manxman departed Heysham at 26 minutes past 3. She's doing well gone 7 o'clock tonight. And tonight's 7 o'clock departure will now go at 9:30. 9:30 tonight. So it's going to be, again, well after midnight, closer to 1 o'clock that you'll be getting to Heysham. The overnight departure from Heysham, the 2:15, will leave at 3:15. Passengers are asked to check in no later than 2:30. And tomorrow, so she's going to be getting here about 7, just gone 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. The 8 o'clock departure, Douglas to Heysham tomorrow morning, will go at 8:30.
Follow the Steam Packet on Twitter for the latest sailing information.
FC Isle of Man's latest league fixture this weekend at Colne has been postponed due to a waterlogged pitch. Nevertheless, we caught up with Ravens boss Paul Jones this week and asked him about his side's recent good form and what it's going to take going forward to continue that charge up the table.
There's a really good atmosphere in the group. I think the standard of delivery in our coaching week is really, really high, and the players are responding to that. I think I've said before, the standards within training week to week and session to session have been really high now for 3 or 4 weeks, even higher than they were previously, and that builds a bit of trust in the group. It builds a bit of respect in the group. That's then flowing into the games, and winning begats winning, doesn't it? So it gives you a little bit of confidence every time you see the game through. And although it wasn't the result we wanted against Lower Breck last week, getting a result in a game that otherwise we might not have done does give you a bit of confidence to know that you're able to get something out of games when you're not playing at your best. No matter who comes off the bench, they're going to have an impact in the game. So yeah, I think confidence and belief in each other and belief in what we're doing, and the more we keep winning, then that keeps building, doesn't it? But my part of my job is, regardless of the result, is to make sure we focus on the performance, and if we keep focusing on those good performances, then as I keep saying, the results will take care of themselves. We're not even halfway yet, are we, in the season? And there's a lot that can happen, but I think I've alluded to it a couple of times. As a group, we've been disappointed in terms of the points total that we actually have based on where we've been in, or the position we've been in some of the games, and feel like we could have more points than we do, and it's all if buts and maybes. And maybe the thing that's changed in the last few weeks is that we're converting performances into points week in and week out, and that needs to continue. And there is a lot of positivity and confidence within the group, but you can say a lot and talk very loudly, but it means nothing unless you back it up with performances and back it up with behaviours week in and week out, and that's what we have to focus on. And if we can do that consistently, we will be not too far away by the end of the season.
Manx Radio Business Briefing.
At 16 minutes before 6, shares in Manchester United jumped on Wall Street on reports that Sir Jim Ratcliffe could buy that 25% stake in the football club next week. Ratcliffe's privately owned multinational chemicals company Ineos has been rumoured to be mounting for a bid for the past month after a group of Qatari investors backed out. According to Sky News, Ineos Sports is on the brink of finalising a $33 a share offer with the club's current controlling investors, the Glazer family, which has owned it since 2005. The deal could be announced as early as Monday, Sky reckons. The offer represents a 79% premium on the US-listed stock's closing price of $18.44 on Thursday. And for a full daily market report, go to ramseycrookall.com. Trouble in France. Weather-related disasters in France paint a pessimistic landscape for insurance prices there. Next year, Storm Federico's arrived there, bringing winds of over 100 kilometres per hour. Northern regions are on standby for torrential rain with storms and even floods expected in other parts of France. Federico follows Storm Kieran, which swept through the northern French coast a couple of weeks ago, causing big damage. Across Europe, the death toll reached 16. The north of France saw severe flooding with 130 municipalities impacted. According to estimates published by the French Insurance Federation, France Assura, Kieran and the other one, Domingos, caused some 1.3 billion euros worth of damage, making it one of the largest storm-related financial losses in France. One of the big questions facing French households and businesses now is whether these extreme weather events will lead to a rise in insurance prices.
The Stock Market Report, brought to you by Ramsey Crookall.
UK and European markets closed higher after a reversal of momentum in the previous session. Wall Street stocks were little changed. Gold held steady and oil edged higher. The numbers from Ramsey Crookall at the close in London. FTSE 100 up 1.25% at the close, 7,504. The DAX in Frankfurt up just over 0.8%, 15,919. A short time ago in New York City, the Dow Jones Industrial down 0.1%, 34,895. The Nasdaq Tech Stocks Index down 0.1%, 14,090. The S&P 500 is down 0.1%, 4,504. In the exchange markets, the British pound sterling is trading at $1 24.2 cents, €1 14.2 cents, and 22 South African rand 83.5 cents. In commodities, gold's down a fraction, 0.07%, $1,980 per troy ounce, and a barrel of Brent crude up 3 3/10%, $79.96.
You've got an investment plan?
Yeah, Mike set it up.
But don't you need loads of money to do that?
Not this one. It's called Shearwater from Ramsey Crookall, and you pay in monthly as little as £100. So it's like saving regularly, really helping us invest in the future. For a house, or the kids' education.
£100 a month? I could easily do that.
You should. The sooner you start, the better.
Invest in your future with as little as £100 a month. Shearwater from Ramsey Crookall, the island's investment specialist for 75 years. Call 717171 or visit ramseycrookall.com. Licensed and regulated by the Isle of Man Financial Services Authority.
Isle of Man Water Sports. Weather with Manx Glass and Glazing.
Here's the relevant information. If you're sailing, kayaking, windsurfing, paddleboarding, sea swimming, diving or surfing this weekend, sea temperatures 13 Celsius. And for Saturday, the wind is southerly or southwesterly, force 5 or 6, wave height 1.8 to 2.2 metres, wave period 6 seconds. High tide 2:19 p.m. And for Jaduni, Sunday, the wind is westerly or southwesterly, force 5 to 7, wave height 2 to 2.5 metres, wave period 7 seconds, high tide 3:22 p.m.
Manx Glass and Glazing are proud to be an approved contractor with Construction Isle of Man. Call the team on 674 573 or visit the showroom on the Snugborough Trading Estate. You're listening to the Isle of Man's quintessential daily news and current affairs roundup. Update on Manx Radio.
People who end up feeling unsafe, vulnerable or threatened during a night out are being urged to ask for Angela. Licensed premises are supporting the new safeguarding initiative, which has been successfully rolled out in the UK, which sees them provide discreet assistance for anybody who needs it. Sergeant Alan Shimmons leading the initiative. He's from the Isle of Man Constabulary's alcohol unit.
I spoke to a licence holder. My first person I spoke to, I won't mention names, but and I said, this is what I'm hoping to sell coming up to the end of the year. And I said to her, what do you think? And she goes, I wish this was in about 20 years ago, because I had a scenario where I had a date exactly like this. I didn't feel comfortable. I ended up going to the bathroom and climbing out of the window. In terms of measuring it, for me, the licence holders will be keeping a record when it's their duty to keep a record if there's any incident happens in their licensed premises. That's what that's their normal practice. So they will keep a record if somebody's asked for Angela. Please don't let that scare anybody. Doesn't mean we're going to go and speak to people. It's literally just a record say somebody came and asked for Angela, got a taxi, done. That's it. No information, no private data, unless that person specifically asks for that to be passed on. In that regard, we're going to hopefully get some sense if or when it's being used, which will be interesting. But also the success can be measured in terms of general feel. It's another method to also support a hospitality industry. They've been struggling since COVID. If you walk in and you see this poster up in the wall or in the bathroom, whatever, that shows their commitment to the safety of the people of the Isle of Man, and that will hopefully make their premises an attractive place and they go in as well. So hopefully it will be busy. None of them have to. We're not forcing anybody to do this. It is purely voluntary, and I've not seen anybody who's said no, and they've all been very supportive. I'm really grateful to the licensing trade, especially after what they go through, and they're still continuing with the struggles. But it's important that working together, that we both, the police and the licensing trade and the security trade, just maintain the ball rolling and come up with initiatives to make licensed premises in the Isle of Man the safest place.
Manx Radio Sport.
Fast am I, Rob Pritchard.
Fast am I. Good evening. Football first this evening, and 3 Railway Cup places remain up for grabs in the Canada Life Men's Premier League as the latest fixtures beckon this weekend. Hoping to join league leaders Ayr United in qualifying, second place Peel host Laxey, fifth place Corinthians travel to Ayr United, and Ramsey in fourth are away at Douglas Royal. St Mary's in third don't have a game this weekend. Elsewhere in Division 2, leaders Foxdale also don't play on Saturday, meaning Castletown, Colby and Michael United all have the chance to close them down in their respective games. All fixtures tomorrow will kick off at 2 p.m. In rugby, after facing the top 2 sides in their league in the last 2 games, Douglas are on the road at third place Crewe and Nantwich in the Regional 2 North West at 1 p.m. tomorrow. 6 places separate Douglas in ninth from their hosts going into this match, with Crewe and Nantwich coming into the clash as favourites on paper. But Manx Radio's rugby correspondent Dave Christian thinks Douglas will be encouraged by running second place Bowden very close last week.
They almost beat Bowden last week. It looked like Douglas had done enough to win the game, and I think looking at the players' reactions afterwards, they thought so too. Douglas will need to take that experience from last week and how well they played and bring it away with them to Crewe and Nantwich.
Also on Saturday, there's some round-robin friendlies taking place between Vagabonds, Ramsey and Southern Nomads at Ballafletcher from 2:15. And in hockey, a big weekend in Manx mixed hockey awaits on Saturday with several league titles and relegation battles still to be decided. In the Mixed Premier League, Valkyrie could be crowned champions if they win or draw against Castletown Celts at QE2, but that will depend on another result during Saturday. There's also a huge game in the same league between Backers and Vikings, who also remain in the title hunt, as Manx Radio hockey correspondent Ben Cunningham explains.
They are both 2 points behind Valkyrie, and if neither team win this game, Valkyrie can wrap up the Premier League title this weekend. So massive game on the line here at the NSC.
Manx Radio Travel, driven by Quayside Tyres and Service Centre.
Looking okay at Ronald's Way inbound, the 5:25 Loganair from Manchester's on time. It's in 7:30 EasyJet from Gatwick's on time. 5:28 Loganair from Liverpool, the returning patient transfer on time. The 8 o'clock Loganair from London City looking good as well. Outbound, it's the 6 o'clock Loganair to Liverpool and the returning Gatwick 8 o'clock EasyJet on time. On the roads, Dolby Road's closed between Niarble Road and Erie Cushlin for some drainage work. Temporary lights in Colby at the main road at the junction with Ballakill Ferrick Road for water main work, and in Crosby still those temporary lights. Are they still there? Ballavitchell Road there for excavation work. The Aracy Road in Glen May's closed from Glen May to the Shoulder Road for resurfacing. Old Laxey Hills closed for excavation work, and temporary lights on Main Road Laxey near Churchill for gas main work. Plenner Road in Sulby's closed for resurfacing. In Paul Rose, temporary lights on Paul Rose Road near the Methodist Church for sewer lining. Hillside Avenue through to Circuit Road in Douglas closed for adjacent office window replacement. There's a section of Switzerland Road closed for a year for construction work. Temporary lights between Johnny Watterson's Lane and the Scullock Road on Ballinard Road for ditch clearing, and temporary lights on Market Street near Chester Street car park for water main work in Douglas.
Quayside Tyres and Service Centre. Spread your payments interest-free. Get more with Quayside. Update Brought to you by Simcox Advocates.
You may have noticed on Update I've not been giving you the details of the mountain road of recent time. Unfortunately, the DOI's technology isn't all it should be. We aren't getting the feed through. Indeed, the government website isn't getting the feed through from the matrix signs. As soon as we know what they are, then we'll tell you. You may have noticed there have been delays on the steam packet this week. Even if you haven't been travelling, there appear to be mixed messages over whether or not work to upgrade the King Edward VIII pier is behind the delays experienced by the steam packet this week. The story from Christian Jones.
The project was announced back in August and we were told sailings wouldn't be affected by the works, but a spokesperson for the steam packet now tells us work would always have affected the schedules due to the Queen Victoria berth being slightly shallower. The company goes on to say it's done its best to reduce the impact and hopes operations can resume as normal now the tide restrictions are in the past. But that's not what the Infrastructure Minister told us when we asked for an update on the progress of the works. He thinks the undertakings are not what's caused the issues.
We're getting ready to put in the big dolphins, as they call them, the big poles, fairly soon. But the construction company came in, been there for a few weeks now, and as you'll be able to see from your office, and other people will see, they're there for the next 6-8 weeks. I think they're doing that job, but it's a job that's needed doing for a while. So hopefully they'll get it done without too much delay.
And how is that actually affecting the operations of the harbour?
At the moment, I don't believe it is affecting. The steam packet and the harbour division work very closely together to make sure everything's working tickety-boo, and it seems to be at the moment.
So that's not the reason why there are issues with the Manxman?
No, I believe it's just the tides at the moment.
That's it for Update Tonight, compiled from the resources of Manx Radio's news department. Thanks to newsreader Siobhan Fletcher, producer Amy Griffith, Rob Sear with the Friday Sport after 6, Chris Kinley with Greatest Hits at 6:30. Have a good weekend.
WINT.